Scatter's back. Check me out on the internet, KUAW.org. For all you Paseo Central Manulite people, want you to remember that in the 60s and the 70s, we had some good music. If you want to hear some of the Temptations, some of Smokey Robinson, some of the Tim Free, things that you don't get every day, DJ Scatter remembers he's going to have it for you.
Bank of Blue Valley is a proud sponsor of KUAW Radio. At Bank of Blue Valley, we believe that an understanding of financial value sets individuals up for a strong future. Whether you want to talk about checking and savings accounts, review lending alternatives, or discuss starting your own business, we have the right people to listen and advise. Visit us at bankbv.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to 98.5. This is KUAW, Kansas City, Missouri. Glad you're listening. Keep tuning to the new voice in Kansas City.
Hi, my name is Felania Johnson, and I'm a freshman at Purcell Academy of Fine and Performing Arts.
My name is Mayan Charity, and I'm a 7th grader at Lincoln College Preparatory.
STEM is a program about science, technology, engineering, and math. More girls our age should get more involved in the program because there's a shortage of black girls in STEM.
African American women make up just 2% of engineers. Roughly 1/3 of students of color express an interest in STEM. Most black women think that STEM is too challenging. We are sisters in STEM, and we are encouraging young black teens to join STEM.
If you're interested in more information, please contact Ina Montgomery at 816-866-6340.
Tycon Company, LLC, specializes in a wide range of construction services, which includes the removal and replacement of concrete curbs, sidewalk, driveway, and paving. They pride themselves in the quality of their service, but more importantly, with the quickness in which they provide those services. Their primary goal and objective is to achieve 100% customer satisfaction, and they won't settle for anything less. Their crews travel within a 100-mile radius of the Kansas City, Missouri metropolitan area, which includes cities on both sides of the Kansas and Missouri state line. Tycon Company, LLC, 4435 Prospect Avenue, Kansas City, Missouri, 64130, 816-921-0473. Tycon Company, LLC, quality with quickness. Proud sponsor of Wake Up KC.
This is Quentin Lucas, speaking on behalf of KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom. Make sure that you gain that knowledge listening to this station and following us on Facebook Live. KUAW, making sure our community has a voice.
You are listening to The Lene Gray Show on KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom.
This is your host, Kay Brooklyn, and our wonderful co-host, Dre B. This is the Love Project Radio Show, where it's all love, all the time.
We definitely want you to tune in to the Love Project Radio Show every first and third Sunday of the month. And also, the show starts at 4 p.m., so please tune in. We discuss different topics from relationships to things that are going on in the world. Again, the Love Project Radio Show at 4 p.m. on every first and third.
Hi, alrighty. This is The Truth Be Told with myself, T-Baby, on KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom, Kansas City's global community radio station. If you have a business or an event that you would like sponsored here on KUAW, please feel free to send us an email at kuaw985@gmail.com. You can call in anytime during this live broadcast, 816-599-6893. We do appreciate you guys' comments and calls, so definitely feel free to call in and speak with me. We are available 24/7 on the World Wide Web. That's www.kuaw.org. And if you're watching me live on Facebook, hey, and if you're listening to me over the air via TuneIn, Periscope, YouTube, either way, either one of those videos, and you like to watch me live on Facebook, shoot over to our Facebook page. That's KUAW LPFM 98.5. KUAW Radio all across the board. Social media. It's on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TuneIn. Yeah, we are a listener sponsored station. So at any time that you like to bless us with a love donation, feel free to do so at any of those avenues. Okay, so there's a lot of things that I want to kind of talk about and cover, which is going to kind of lead into different things and everything. I'm sorry, I'm sitting in different positions, so it's kind of weird. But that's going to lead me into a lot of different other things. So I definitely appreciate you guys' comments and talk back with me so we can keep this going. So first and foremost, just to get this out the way. Well, no, let's take that back. Congratulations to the Chiefs. Want to make sure that we get that out there, let that be known that we did pick up that W yesterday. It was kind of shaky at the beginning, but they pulled it through. Defense was on point yesterday. Yeah, so just, it was Travis' birthday, so happy birthday to Travis. Got that W. 4-0, making history out here. They said they was gonna have to give us our own history, but we gonna have our own book of records, just because of all the records that we're setting right now. It's an exciting time to be a Chiefs fan. So yes, shout out to the Chiefs. Okay, so President Trump got COVID. There's a lot of things that are surrounding that. It is October, right before the election. There's always something that kind of happens after the or right before the election. It was a couple of tweets that kind of people predicted this. That they were going to come out and say he had COVID and all this other kind of stuff. That's why a lot of people think that it's kind of staged. He was caught staging photos in the hospital. He was signing a blank piece of paper on his name or whatever. But the real thing about it is that I want to point out is that all the social media owners, or I guess people, that have the right to take down posts and everything and block you from making posts and everything like that. So they were blocking all death wishes, I guess, that were surrounding Trump and him having COVID-19. And it just brought the thought to me just to share with you guys. It's how the people that really are controlling all these platforms that that we surround our day in and get our news and stuff from, right? They know the power of thought. They know the power of energy and spreading it. And so the things that they let, so you got to look at what they let spread and what they don't let spread, and how they're controlling it, and it just should make you think more so about just your thoughts being things, and then the energy and everything that we put out into the atmosphere. I do want to say we shouldn't wish death on anyone. I know there's a lot of people that, I don't know how they feel, how you could really feel so much of a feeling. I'm going to take these headphones off. So much of a feeling. They not working. So much of a feeling that you could I guess feel hate for someone just based, and you don't really know them, or just have this much energy off to another person. And it's just weird that we really have these feelings, and they bank off us having these feelings, so strong of feelings, of emotional feelings or whatever, towards just whoever they want to put in front of us at the time, because that's really what they do, is controlling the media and everything. And when I say they, I'm just speaking of people that like to cause chaos. They feed off of chaos. You know what I'm saying? There's certain people that you just know that just feed off of drama and chaos and things like that. And there's just a certain realm of people that happen to be kind of in control of a lot of things that feed off of chaos. And but anyway, so we should just think more about that, but I'm not gonna spend too much time on it because I really don't want to get into just those political things I know all I can say is go vote and make an educated vote. Other than that, I can't really tell anyone what type of decision they should be making, or that, because everyone has their own reasonings and everything. We talk about that when it comes to voting, but it is important. I feel like it's important that, we get out and exercise the right to vote. Whether you think it works or it doesn't work, whether you think it doesn't have an effect on everything, it's so much more on a lower level that goes into those elections that we kind of really can control. For instance, the governor. So yes, I definitely feel like that, you really should exercise that right in your local, especially for your local elections, and when it comes to your state and your city and things like that. So speaking of which, is our state and our city, as you all know, we are based in Kansas City, Missouri. So, KCPD, there is a active investigation right now against the Officer Newton, who decided to use excessive force and body slam or slam to the ground a 9-month pregnant woman. And he also put his knee in her back, and this is all on video. And so let me tell you guys the things surrounding the situation, surrounding the situation of how this happened. So they were having a visual for someone that passed. So it's a gathering, you know what I'm saying? They don't like too many of us gathered in one place, and this was on like 35th and Prospect. So they said that the police are always, kind of active over there, because it's probably because there's a lot of us over there. And so they were having a visual, and so the police came and said that, they tried to say that there was some fighting or something going on, which there was no evidence that anyone was fighting. They had tried to detain this young man, which happens to be the pregnant woman's brother. And I can't think of his name right now, I didn't write it down. But, and so, she came over kind of to his defense, like most of us would, especially now in the times of everything that's going on with the police and our men. So, and he decided to body slam her on her stomach, and he put his knee in her back. And so there's been a protest. Oh, another thing is, when they were, one thing that really irritated me about this whole situation, about this whole story, was that the reason that they were trying to detain him was for resisting arrest. Well, there should never be an resisting arrest crime, or, if there's no crime being committed, because what are you arresting me for? You know what I'm saying? Like, this really, it just really irritates me, because it's like, how can you arrest someone for resisting arrest when you didn't have a reason to arrest them in the first place? And that's so now there's been all these kind of protests, and when it first happened, I didn't really see like a lot of outrage like you see again around all the killings and everything like that every time that happens in our city and everything. But it's like, when these things are right in our backyard, and there's no one that really speaks on it. I'm not saying that there's no one, because there have been a few protests going on surrounding this incident. There, people are calling for the resignation or firing of the police chief, which is Rick Smith. The mayor got on, I heard him speaking on it and everything, and they're saying that there's an open investigation of it. But the officer as well is like, what in your mind even makes you do that, you know what I'm saying, like to a pregnant woman? And it makes you, it's really hopefully something comes from it. Like I said, there isn't an open investigation. It was several videos of this incident. So hopefully something comes from it. Hopefully that we can be a voice in our communities, we can start going to these community meetings and everything that they have, so that we can actually impact change. Like, the protesting and stuff is good, but it's like the protests and everything is being ignored, like, across the nation. Like, now it's like something they expect, they plan for it, they expect it, like, they're prepared for it in a sense. It's like it's predictable, and it's really haven't accomplished anything. when we look at all the protests that was around, this kind of kicked off with George Floyd, which I don't know anything about what's going on. That's been so swept under the media and everything right now. I actually need to write that down and look into that. But to know with the officer that committed that crime. We know that only one officer actually went to jail when it was 4 of them. We know that they all lost their job. Then you move on to the Breonna Taylor situation. You got one cop that got indicted for the bullets that he missed. The bullets that he fired into the neighbor's wall. Like, are you serious right now? When a whole family, a whole person, a whole spirit is just gone and no one is held accountable for that, right? And then so we protest around that, and it's just like all the protests that's around it. And then the attorney general, they put somebody that looks like you. Malcolm X told, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself and what I want to, that's why I wrote an outline, because I had so much that just because when Daniel Cameron, he made a statement today because there was a lot of backlash again around Megan Thee Stallion and her performance on Saturday Night Live. So, and we'll get into that. I'm gonna talk about that, but I really kind of just want to finish this thought about the police officer and let me come back to that because I get ahead of myself. Because there's also another situation that happened on October 3rd with Jonathan Price, and the cop shot him, and he did kill him in Wolf City. I really don't even know where that's at. I meant to actually look that up and see what state that was in. And he was at a gas station trying to stop a domestic violence situation. And we think about in the times that we net with the message, even around the same thing with Megan Thee Stallion and everything like that, is the protect the black woman. And you think about these type of situations. This young man lost his life at a gas station trying to help a situation that probably, I don't know if it had anything to do with him. I don't know if it was in his family. I really don't know that in depth of the detail with it. But in all, how many domestic violence situations have you seen at a gas station or just riding down a highway or anything like that? And you like, oh, it ain't my business, or it's called minding your own business. You know what I'm saying? People pride themselves on minding their own business and everything like that. And then, but on the other side of it, you want to be protected, and you want to feel protected and everything like that. And then here's a man that exercises that, and he loses his life from a police officer that was probably called to the scene, probably because of the domestic violence situation that was taking place. But somehow the man, just because of what he looked like, because when you see him, he's big, he's Asiatic, he's big, he got his muscles. Like when you see him, he automatically became the threat when the cop pulled up on the scene without any question, without any thought about it. He shot this man. Okay. Now, unlike a lot of other situations that our people have been in, as far as when it goes to hashtags and everything like that, as far as these other situations where there is seemingly no justice, this police officer, his name was Sean Lucas. He was arrested today. So was it today or yesterday? It was today. So he was arrested today. He was taken into custody. He was charged with murder. He had a $1 million bond set. The turnaround of it was quick. And so I guess I applaud the Wolf City, other police officers and everything like that, and being timely in it, recognizing what it was, calling it murder. It's like they want to call it everything else but murder. You know what I'm saying? It's everything else but murder every time. Every time that we continue to go through these things and continue to see these things plastered over social media, plastered over CNN, like just plastered everywhere to be embedded in your mind. It's like, it's to the point where I feel like my nephew, right? He turned 15 this previous weekend. He turned 15. He won't do a day in jail. Well, I say I'm not gonna hold that thought. Again, I speak on thoughts being things, so I'm definitely not gonna hold that thought that he won't do a day in jail or anything like that, because just how swiftly the turnaround and the justice of it was for, just how swiftly the turnaround was for, we would have just hold a higher thought that justice will prevail in this situation. You know what I'm saying? Like I said at the beginning of this segment, like we have to change the way that we think. We have to understand the energy that our thoughts take on. We have to understand that when we start to think ourselves, that we can think ourselves into worse situations than we already are in. And part of the reason that we have been in a lot of situations that we're in, and I'm not talking about just the police killing us, I'm talking about our people as a whole. I'm saying from losing reign of the world to like just our people as a whole, you know, is because of the way that we think. But the way that we think, it mostly isn't our fault. It's more so the programming that has been done on our people. Anything involved in Black is civil, not criminal. Understanding law is why I said that, and I definitely agree with that. Now, trust and believe. I speak on this show. That's why when I say Black, I put quotes, and you really use the word Asiatic, because when you do think about the Constitution and you know that Black and white is a status, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you there's certain things that are written into the Constitution. We have to I don't want to go all the way there, but we have to know the Constitution and understand the Constitution. See, a lot of people haven't even read the Constitution, so you don't know the type of things of how the law upholds and everything like that. But with everything going on in the world now, and the fact that most people really don't know that, and most of the protests and everything is surrounding Black Lives Matter and everything like that, you're gonna have some people that are gonna try to set small little kind of tangible things to make it feel like there has been a win. Don't get it twisted. These people are playing the art of war. They know what they are doing. You're going to see out of all the 10, 20, 100 cases that don't get something, if you give them one, they might be, let's see what that does. So trust and believe they will start to especially if it starts getting too out of hand. You know what I'm saying? If it starts getting too out of hand, trust and believe they're gonna kind of nip it in the bud. Like or try to, at least, just to make a little taste of satisfaction. You know what I'm saying? Like they think like that. They know that. When it comes down to Black, it's always a civil matter. Okay, but so yeah. So anyway, with the protecting Black women and everything like that. So let's go back to the Daniel Cameron thing. So Megan Thee Stallion went on Saturday Night Live. She did the premiere of Saturday Night Live or whatever, and she had a message in her performance, and I just kind of want to dissect her message a little bit, because there's a lot of different things that were in it. So her main message was, you know, to protect Black women, protect Black men, stand up for Black men, quote unquote Black men, Asiatics. I just like to say what people, you know what they relate to. But the main thing about Daniel Cameron is they call him a sellout. They said Daniel Cameron is no better than the Negro. Can I say Negroes? The Negroes that sold our people into slavery. And so that's one part of it that I wanted to speak out, and I can't even give that quote right there to Megan Thee Stallion, because that was really Tamika that kind of leads the protest or whatever that said this. And I believe so. I believe it was her that said it. And it was after the Breonna Taylor indictment announcement and everything like that. And don't get me wrong, I definitely agree that Daniel Cameron is what they call I mean, I don't want to use the word sellout, but probably a sellout. I mean, I really don't know, a traitor. Like, I don't know. I really don't know another word that you could really use for it or whatever. But it was the part that when she was saying that sold our people into slavery. Because there's a common myth out there, and you know what? I don't even really want to say it's a myth. I don't even know if I have enough time in this half just to even really go into all this. But I'm probably gonna do a whole show over this. Actually, I might save that, and I might really just do a whole show over that, because there's a common myth about, or misconception, I would say, about quote unquote Africans. Some would say Moors. They use the word Negroes, but they said that sold our people into slavery. And so I kind of want to dissect that a little bit and talk about that, just because it is a common thought that a lot of people have, and like I said, it's really a misconception. She also had a Malcolm X speech in there, and it was the Malcolm X speech where he was saying that the Asiatic woman is the most unprotected being in America, and disrespected, unprotected, all those type of things. Y'all know the speech, right? And if you don't know the speech, look it up. But he's basically saying, who taught you how to hate yourself from the top of your head to the bottom of, or to the bottom of your feet, or bottom of your toes, or something like that. I don't want to kind of misquote it, but it's some sister. Can I stay on my way to a meeting? I praise to do it. So I definitely appreciate you tapping in, Brother Johnson Bay. Definitely. But so he was talking about being a most unprotected, and I wanted to, that's been a lot that's been going on, a common saying, or saying, going on a lot right now over social media and just through the news and everything. And again, I talk about the victimized mentality that a lot of people have, men or women, and it's like, what does this really mean? You know what I'm saying? Because when they say unprotected, it makes you feel somewhat as if they're saying, I don't know. Y'all tell me. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I see it's a lot of educated, brothers and sisters and stuff on here. So y'all tell me what it is that y'all think it really means when people say are unprotected. It's like, are we talking about in the justice system? Are we talking about from other Asiatic men? Are we talking about from each other? Because it's just like attacked. They feel attacked on so many different levels. When I was trying to figure it out, like when I knew I was going to talk about it, this is going to lead into the second half of my show anyway. So, because I'm gonna have to go on break here in a second. But so when they talk about the most unprotected, and we saying, okay, let's see. Nobody got sold into slavery except the Africans brought here and the natives that were being kidnapped. They don't understand that slavery was largely a mental state, like an elephant tied to a chair, which is still present today. Oh yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. Yeah. But okay, so they were saying it's the most unprotected being in America, right? And so when we look into this, like how I was talking about kind of last week, was like the Crown Act. So we think about like in corporate America, when you think about from other Asiatic men, for instance, like the domestic violence. We know domestic violence is very present in our nation. So domestic violence, when you talk about, I guess, like respect, even in like relationships and friendships. So I guess that would be like protected emotionally or unprotected emotionally. Then you have other women who just don't like other women. You know what I'm saying? So they have to be protected from each other. But it's like, what makes a woman, or what makes our women in the eyes of everyone else that I guess weak, to where they feel like they can't protect themselves from that. Why do we, and this is how we kind of get into the and I guess this is kind of the point that are one of the things that I could emphasize when it comes to like feminist type movement type stuff or whatever, because it's not necessarily independent, but I don't necessarily feel like using the word unprotected is kind of the narrative that we want to be taking. Now, granted, there's a certain type of respect that we should have for our women. You know what I'm saying? There's and that especially that our men should have towards our women. But that's vice versa. And we have to learn how to respect each other. So when we look at the oh dang, I kind of threw myself off. So that's the type of respect that like we should have for each other. So when we look at like the Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez situation, right, and we'll kind of get back into it after the break because I am about to take a break. So I ask that you guys, bear with me and stay on, and I'm gonna read some more of these comments and respond back to them when we come back. You ready? Or no? Okay. Yep. So bear with me, and I'll be right back.
Hey everybody, this is Scatter. You might remember me from way back in the Zodiac days. Be sure and check us out. We're going to be here every day from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. It's old school with Scatter. Scatter's back. Check me out on the internet, KUAW.org. For all you Paseo Central Manulite people, want you to remember that in the 60s and the 70s, we had some good music. If you want to hear some of the Temptations, some of Smokey Robinson, some of the Tim Free, things that you don't get every day, DJ Scatter remembers he's going to have it for you.
Bank of Blue Valley is a proud sponsor of KUAW Radio. At Bank of Blue Valley, we believe that an understanding of financial value sets individuals up for a strong future. Whether you want to talk about checking and savings accounts, review lending alternatives, or discuss starting your own business, we have the right people to listen and advise. Visit us at bankbv.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to 98.5. This is KUAW, Kansas City, Missouri. Glad you're listening. Keep tuning to the new voice in Kansas City.
Hi, my name is Felania Johnson, and I'm a freshman at Purcell Academy of Fine and Performing Arts.
My name is Mayan Charity, and I'm a 7th grader at Lincoln College Preparatory.
STEM is a program about science, technology, engineering, and math. More girls our age should get more involved in the program because there's a shortage of black girls in STEM.
African American women make up just 2% of engineers. Roughly 1/3 of students of color express an interest in STEM. Most black women think that STEM is too challenging. We are sisters in STEM, and we are encouraging young black teens to join STEM.
If you're interested in more information, please contact Ina Montgomery at 816-866-6340.
Really nappy? I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm back on there. I was like, I didn't even know it was on. Okay. These headphones making me feel crooked. Make my I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. I appreciate you guys bearing with me for the first half of the show and for that break. Again, if you have a business or an event that you'll like sponsor here on KUAW, feel free to email us at kuaw985@gmail.com. And as well as if you want to call in and comment anytime during this live broadcast, this number is scrolling at the top of your screen. So 816-599-6893. I would love for you guys to call in, tap in, and talk with me. Okay, so for the second half of my show, I wanted to go into kind of like it's more so friendships and a different dynamic between like female friendships and male friendships. And the reason that I've been thinking about this, right, was because I don't know if you guys know, but the show Girlfriends resurfaced on Netflix, and they're playing like all the seasons and everything. And they're now that where a lot of people are a lot of people that was in the generation of when that show came out are older now and we go back and watch it, we're like, oh, these relationships are toxic or super toxic. You know how we love this word toxic now, right? so um so these relationships are real quick. I'm sorry, I needed to go back because there was a comment. So Noble Ill says systematic oppression disarms is making us vulnerable to the trappings of European supremacy, a society steered by lack of education and poverty. Well, now one thing I can say is that more of our people are educated, and we kind of are leading the nation in education right now. We built education, like we are very educated people. A lot of things are suppressed in us, but I do agree that it's like the programming, like, so when we say systematic oppression, and when I hear systematic oppression, I think of public school institutions, TV programs, like I said, like I started off talking earlier, social media, networks, all these things that we give a lot of our time to, a lot of these things that we allow to give our image of who we are and who we are supposed to be as men, as women, as Asiatic men and women, as just like the ideal of what's promoted to us on like on television and in movies and everything like that, because this is where most of the programming comes from, the things that you watch, the things that you listen to, and the music and everything like that. So these are the type of things that kind of gear you into your core kind of beliefs, and they're really subconscious beliefs. And so yeah, and we are, when just like a computer, our mind defaults to the subconscious programming in a lot of things that we do. So, and again, and this goes right into what I was just saying about like relationships, because when we look at like female on female relationships, and I'm not saying in a sexual way, I'm not talking about lesbian stuff or whatever, I'm saying like friendships and stuff like that. But there's like a lot of cattiness, a lot of kind of jealousy in a sense. But when they're portrayed on TV, that's how they come off on TV. You know what I'm saying? Real catty, like and when the dynamic of relationship between the women and the men, even the way men are portrayed on TV, it's a lot of those different things or whatever that goes into the effects of how we actually live in our daily lives, and the subconscious programming that we default to when we're working through our own thing, like our own situations and with each other, and our own like real life thoughts. And I always go back to thoughts because, you know, everything starts with a thought. Like before you speak a word, your thoughts, you form thoughts. You know what I'm saying? So it says Rockefeller founded school and programs. No. I've come to the conclusion that nearly every book in America has false information. So you know what I'm saying, your thoughts before you speak on something, you know what I'm saying, you think about it, right? And that's just like when they say that women think about the argument before the actual argument happens and they like no, like practice what they gonna say and things like that. But so when we think about all these type of programming and things and the images that we see to ourselves, or we relate it, you know what I'm saying, to our lives naturally. And so we have to counteract those type of things. Like for instance, when we look in a workplace, well, I could just use myself for example, right? Because I am a type of person that and I had to think about this when I was thinking about this show, but I'm a type of person that I always be like, I don't have a lot of female friends. Like I don't really hang around a lot of females. Like I got 2 female friends that I didn't have for the longest. And you know what I'm saying? And that's it. But it's really hard when I think about it. It's kind of really hard. And I got family. Of course, I got cousins and everything like that. I say I got 3 female friends. Let me take that back. I got 3. But, because Mr. Walker, you was looking at me like 2 was not enough. No, but when I think about like in a workplace, right? And we think about even like when you meet other Asiatic women in the workplace, you never really know what you're gonna get, and it's like just portrayed, and you see it like it's the things most of the times like projected in like a lot of shows and music and everything that you watch. Like everybody has like kind of this stuck up attitude, or just I don't know, I really don't know what it is. And this when I was seeing the comments and backlash about these relationships on this the Girlfriends television show and everything, when I was looking at the backlash and stuff on it, I was just start to think about the dynamics of why, you know what I'm saying, why do we have these I don't know what to call them, stereotypes, I guess, about each other, even towards our men, like, you know what I'm saying, just like the dynamic between men and women, kind of the same thing or whatever. Like you think about men that say that they don't date Asiatic women, and if you ask them why, they say they got bad attitudes, they don't know how to be quiet, they don't know how to listen. Like, I mean, they got a whole lot of lists of reasons that, you know, they come to the conclusion that they don't you know, really date Asiatic women, right? So we even have these stereotypes towards each other. And so when we look at these messages going out and we're talking about respecting, protecting each other and things like that, but it's like there has to be some level of respect first, right? And this is what I mean when I say we have to do a lot of deprogramming and reprogramming when it comes to the way that we deal with relationships and the way that we move just in life, regardless, just like interaction with other people, especially people in our own nation, right? And so when we think about this, you think about all the things, how it kind of hinders movement, because even in business, right, you got a lot of people that say that, oh, I would love to support quote unquote black owned businesses, but the customer service sucks, and this and that. They have all these lists of reasons when you can go to Walmart and get treated like you the criminal, the most wanted, what they call it, like you on America's Most Wanted list. You know what I'm saying? You can go to Target and get followed around. You can go to all these Hobby Life. You can go to all these major corporations or whatever, get the worst service ever, but you would still go back and support their businesses, right? But we have this standard or pedestal or something that we have towards each other to where we hinder ourselves in these ways, and friendships as well, business relationships, intimate relationships, like all type of relationships. And it goes back off to love, you know, just how I was talking about last week about like love being an energy that you dwell on. A lot of people say it's a feeling or it's an action, or no, it's an energy that you dwell on that we really should have towards all of humanity, right? And that mostly means with each other. You know, not all the hate and all the jealousy, all the lower self thoughts, all the what the brother mentioned earlier as European supremacy thoughts, because these are all characteristics that are unlike us. And when we come into that conclusion, and when we actually take on that mind frame, that mindset, and it takes a while. It's just like when you first start wanting to put off positive vibes, right? And it says like for every negative thought, you got to counteract it with a positive thought. Well, when you first start going through this process, if you haven't did it or before or whatever, but when you start going through this process, it's something that you have to actually concentrate on. Like you got to be like, oh, that was a negative thought. You got to correct yourself. You got to actually tell yourself, you know, until it becomes a habit, until it becomes something so embedded in your system, in your program, in your mind, in your computer, however you want to say it, when it comes so embedded in you that it's as easy as breathing. You know what I'm saying? Like no one sits and concentrates on every breath that they take, but yet they're constantly taking breaths. If not, you would die. You know what I'm saying? So it's like until you can make it a habit to where it's just something like that. And that's how we should be when we come into encounters with each other. No, we shouldn't take on the mindset of the mind your business. Like granted, sometimes sometimes, just like in the Jonathan situation, like things don't go the way that you would expect them to go, but everything happens for a reason. And sometimes we don't always understand that reasoning, and that reason may not always be present at the time, but we have to trust in the universe. I would say some people would say God. Y'all know I've been seeing posts that say people talking about how they hate that I guess they call us millennials, which we're really not millennials, but I guess so-called woke people are exchanging the word God for universe, or yeah, I'm just gonna say God, or who they consider to be God or whatever, for the word universe, But at the end of the day, it's like this is really what it is. So I'm saying you can't always control, but you have to trust. What I'm saying, just trust in the universe, trusting yourself as the powerful being that you are. Again, that's why the thoughts are so important. But again, it's like if we want to feel protected, because there's a lot of it was our women that are going around saying Asiatic women are unprotected. You know what I'm saying? Like they feel this way. So if you want to feel protected, if you want to feel respected, these are also things that you have to give off. And that's one thing about the whole little situation that came about with, the Megan. The thing is the respect that she had for him, even after everything that was going on. You know what I'm saying? Like how even in the midst of her own chaos or her own pain, it was just like the respect and things that she thought for him. Because even like she said in her Saturday Night Live things, like we're tired of seeing our men on hashtags. You know what I'm saying? You never know what's going to happen in a situation, just like what happened in the Jonathan Price situation, trying to do a good deed, trying to protect someone, and you end up losing your life. Like you never know what's going to happen or whatever. So it's going to take us. We can't depend on these outside forces outside of our own nation. We can't depend on them to do it for us. We can't depend on them to solve the problem for us, to provide the justice for us or anything like that. It's like these are things that we are gonna have to tackle on our own. And and the way that we start doing that is the way that we think. Like, I think it's like, it's I don't know who quoted it, but it's, people say it all the time, but it's like if you want to change the situation, you got to change the way you think about the situation, like your perspective on the situation. If you want to change your conditions, I know Noble Drew Ali said this, but if you want to change your conditions, you have to change the way that you think, because our thinking creates the conditions that we find ourselves in. And us being on such a large scale right now, and that's another reason why European supremacy can even live amongst us. And it's because of the programming of how we think. You know what I'm saying? It's because of the power that we give up in our thinking, in our fear, and granted, with all the things that happen to us, with all the injustices that are done to us, all the people that get away with the things that they do to us, it creates more and more of a fear within ourselves on such a large scale that we find ourselves in fearful situations in almost everywhere we go. You know what I'm saying? But if we change the way that we thought about it, that fear would disappear. You know what I'm saying? That does not mean that the threat, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the threat disappears. Not saying that at all. We are going to have to hold on. It says, yes, the term God is like what Noble Drew Ali said. Those cast out the holy city follow their teachings, meaning the Europeans. Yeah, we definitely know that, but that's more so, even when we say their teachings, right? Like, and that's just kind of what I was saying earlier. We take on their thoughts. We take on their perception of us when we think about how, like I said, how I stated at the beginning of this segment, how we look at each other, how we feel about each other. We take on their thoughts of us, that we project. There is projected on to us. And so when we hold those thoughts, that's how we treat each other. So those are the situations that we create amongst each other. So, and when I talk about, when we talk about this, I want to say war, but it's not really a war because it's not really being fought. You know what I'm saying? It's not really, it's more of like a mental war. But when we talk about this, okay, so this problem or this obstacle that our people face right now, right? In the form of racism, right? A lot of people feel that it's going to be done on a physical, and you guys heard me say this before, that it's going to be done on a physical plane. When I mean by that is actual war, fighting, another civil war, guns, all those type of things, right? And I'm telling you, I done had this conversation with my grandpa, and he would say that we would never win because they have all the guns. That's his favorite line. They have all the guns. When it comes to nuclear power, all these kind of things or whatever, when you think about that, they control all that. Granted, I don't think that they could ever release a nuclear bomb on U.S. soil, but who knows what they didn't sign into law, because you couldn't even deploy the military on U.S. soil, but we see how that changed. So when we think about that type of war, they always think that it's going to have to be like a physical war, and they say we'll never win a physical war with our oppressors, right? And that's how I be trying to point out the fact that it's a more of a mental, more of a spiritual war. When they say when you use your power that is inside of you, that your God-given power, again, y'all didn't heard me say this, no matter what religion you are, whether you read the Bible, whether you read the Quran, like whether you don't have no religion, whether you spiritual, like whatever, that melanated people are the what you call godly, divine, connected, whatever people. So if you using that God-given power within you, you got to understand what that God-given power is and how it's controlled and how it's used. And that comes more so with our thoughts and the energy and things that we can put out into the atmosphere or the universe or the energy field that we find ourselves in. And because we're definitely not, if we try to do a physical war, you know what I'm saying, we could possibly end up losing, but then we're also stooping down to a level that is kind of beneath us. And that's where we gotta find where our power lies, and our power lies within. So when you see someone, smile at them. You see another person of it, whether you know them, smile, wave, good morning, thank you, have manners. Like, you never know what type of the energy that you're putting out, how it can affect someone else's energy, could raise their energy. So then the next people that they're going into is raising their energy. We need to start doing more things that consist with raising our energies and raising our auras, and so that it raises our thoughts. Okay, so I'm going to read these couple of comments before. I don't think we have fear. I think we have been conditioned like a lion in a circus. No, I definitely think that we have fear. I think that I know too many men that will walk around with a gun. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we think about the need to carry a gun, you think that's and really, now I can definitely understand it in your homes, but when you talk about walking around with it, right? So that's just like a fear. It's not necessarily a fear, but being prepared if someone attacks you. But why would you think someone that would attack you? Because you're in the area of town that you're in, or you know what I'm saying, whatever. And then you got the police. What's going on with the police right now? I don't care how strong of a man you are. What's going on with the police right now? You see those red, white, and blue lights behind you? It's a tense. You know what I'm saying? You tense up. There's a you never know, but they try to implement that fear on us. And then that's why you see young men out here running from the police. You can't tell me that they not scared. If they not scared, why they running? You know what I'm saying? Like, you see self-preservation exists in every walk of life. That's not self-preservation. that I don't even have enough time to get into all that, but that's not what self-preservation means. But anyway, there when you see young boys, everything that's growing up and it's things, because even if we're gonna say that it may not even be in the adult men, which I don't even think that is, but the young men coming up, the teenagers and everybody that's shooting each other, that's want to go out shootouts with police, everything like that or whatever, they do those things out of fear because they never know that what can happen. Those things are promoted once we seeing all these things on social media, once we seeing all these things. COVID, don't get me wrong, not saying that COVID is not real, not saying that, people have not died from COVID, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want no one out there to feel like if they knew somebody or know whatever, that I'm disrespecting it at all, but not saying that. But a lot of the things that's been put out in the media has been to instill fear amongst the whole. You know what I'm saying? Around the whole situation. You fearing going to the grocery store. You fearing leaving your house to the point where you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of things that's being programmed into us that you might not want to accept that is fear, or that they're putting fear in it. And it might not even be you, because if you're aware of it, then, you don't really fear it. But for a lot of people, for the masses, it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? For the masses, it's a fearful time right now. There's a lot of people under a lot of stress and anxiety and all this other kind of stuff just because of everything that's going on, from the police to the COVID, everything. Like, all these things is pushing fear. I went over my time. Dang it. I hate when that happens. But I got to get up out of here. But just real quick, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother had given ye suck. Let the bonds of affection, therefore, unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in our Father's house. When you separate in the world, remember the relation that bondeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother's in adversity, assist him. If thy sister's in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy Father contribute to the support of his whole race. In his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Peace.
Hey everybody, this is Scatter. You might remember me from way back in the Zodiac days. Be sure and check us out. We're going to be here every day from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. It's old school with Scatter. Scatter's back. Check me out on the internet, KUAW.org. For all you for sale Central Manulite people, want you to remember that in the 60s and the 70s, we had some good music. If you want to hear some of the Temptations, some of Smokey Robinson, some of the Tim Freed, things that you don't get every day, DJ Scatter remembers. He's going to have it for you.
Bank of Blue Valley is a proud sponsor of KUAW Radio. At Bank of Blue Valley, we believe